Hello and welcome back to Rain Check. We will be continuing where we left off, which if you recall is after Theodore got attacked by a druggie, and Ro, and I believe his name is Javier, decided to help him after he ended up getting a random text out of nowhere that scared Theodore because apparently he's a little scaredy cat. And yeah, they're going to go investigate what the text message was telling Theodore to do. Although I kind of have a feeling that it wasn't actually meant for Theodore. Might have been like a sent on error, but I guess we'll see. Anyways, so yeah, let us continue rain check. I look over at Javier, who's pointing the device in his paw towards the gate. I expect something to happen as he presses a button, but nothing does. There. What did you just do? Shifted the gate's surveillance signal to another channel. Much safer than disabling it, obviously. This should buy us about an hour's worth of time. Casting my gaze beyond the gate, I make out two cameras on top of the power line, with one facing our immediate path ahead. What about that camera? The fox looks at me skeptically, then squints in the direction that I'm pointing. A bit too dark, but... He lines up the device with his eyes and aims it upwards without hesitation. Better safe than sorry. Huh. You can see it, right? Just barely. You tigers and your night vision. He mumbles to himself and strides past the gates, motioning for me to follow. Wait, are we finding another way in? Exactly. Going in directly would draw too much attention. Maybe we can find an alternative entry point. I carefully trail along the fence with Javier, trying not to make too much noise with the gravel around. Maybe I can pry a tad into our objective. Hey, what are we searching for exactly? Anything unusual, out of the ordinary, weird, suspicious. And we're planning on going inside the power plant? Yes, but we'll decide our point of entry once Ro arrives. He halts and scans the surrounding before turning his gaze back to me. Speaking of which, what do you think of Ro? Huh? The sudden question catches my attention and I look at Javier, perplexed. What do you mean? He's nice, I suppose. He returned my wallet and saved me a whole headache of trouble. He raises a brow at my response, seemingly unconvinced. Is that so? I'm surprised that he hasn't scared you off like he does with most people. Why would he scare me away? Is this related to something? I don't see how this... Haven't you noticed how large he is? He's even taller and bigger than you. Plus, he's not known for his friendliness. Yeah, I mean, I guess. I'm actually not sure if I've got a good read on him. Hopefully he doesn't find me too annoying. But what about you? Aren't you scared of him? No, not really. There's nothing that he can do to scare me. And why's that? No particular reason. By the way, I think he has a soft spot for you. He smirks as his words fluster me. He reaches over, giving my shoulder a playful tap. Too much? Now I understand what Ro meant. What are you talking about? Why don't you ask him about it later? Anyway, let's continue on. I want to find a decent vantage point before Ro arrives. Confusion lingers in my mind, wondering what Javier is trying to convey. He strolls alongside the fence, eventually vanishing around a corner. Although tempted to shout after Javier for an explanation, I remember that we need to maintain our undercover status. I hastily follow his lead, hoping not to get left behind. We distance ourselves from the entrance gate by a couple of 100 feet, yet the power plant seems to stretch endlessly. There's not much around here apart from the vast fields of grass surrounding the area. So far, I haven't noticed anything unusual. Javier continues to disable surveillance cameras as we pass by, and it's amusing to watch him point at them with the small device in his palm. What is that, anyway? This? He waves the gadget in his paw with intent. It's the small multi-tool device that I used on your phone last night, a bit flipper. Bit flipper? How exactly does it work? I won't bore you with the details, but it lets me manipulate, save, and store signals. Huh. That's cool. This isn't a toy, you know. It must be used with great care. Right. By the way, there's a camera over there that you missed. I didn't miss it. I was just about to get to it. And say, won't the people monitoring the security feeds suspect something if all their cameras are going offline? No, I'm simply reassigning their cameras to another channel temporarily. This causes their video feed to lag and allows us to walk by undetected. I nod in response, pretending to comprehend the technical workings behind it. Javier looks around and points at several large steel pipes that snake over the fencing. Perfect. He scurries over to inspect the pipes leading up on the tall metal fence. Fortunately for us, this seems to be a blind spot. Although... Javier ponders for a second, hesitating to speak. What is it? Suddenly he looks at me, his gaze contemplative. Shit, where the hell is Ro when you need him? What's wrong? I won't climb this. The pipe's too wide and slippery for me. I can't risk getting injured. It looks like we'll have to go back to the car and retrieve the drone, although that might not be a good idea. I study the pipes again. They stand at least 10 feet high and way wider than Javier. I can do it. What? I can climb the pipe. You climb the pipe? Are you serious? You're trying to impress the wrong guy. I would rather not have you do anything to jeopardize your safety. I'm serious. I've climbed similar things back home countless times. I want to help out too. It's the least that I can do after involving you guys in this. This is one of the few things that I'm good at. And here I thought you were going to be a liability, even though you technically still would be if you fell. He examines my body and tail before reluctantly nodding. Fine, fine. If you're so determined, I won't stop you. But if you fall and can't get up, I'm leaving you here. Also, take this. Javier reaches into his coat and retrieves a device similar to the bit flipper before handing it to me. There is a small display with several buttons on the side. Once you reach the top of those pipes, just press this red button for me and aim it at the main building. He points towards a large structure partly concealed by the electrical grids and cooling towers. Got it? Okay, sounds easy enough. I secured the device in my pocket and grip onto the pipe using both of my arms, pulling myself up. As I climb, I coordinate my body, alternating between my legs and arms while swaying my tail for balance. It's been a while since I last climbed anything, but fortunately, my muscles still remember the motions effortlessly. The reduced friction on the pipe demands some adjustment, but I managed to ascend with relative ease. Not bad. Faster than I expected. Reaching the top of the pipe, it bends forward enough to create a small platform for me to rest on. With one paw gripping the pipe for support, I retrieve the device with the other and aim it at the building. I press the button, and as if on cue, a figure emerges off in the distance. Oh shit. I quickly scuffle back downwards, sliding back down the pipe. Did we get spotted? No, I don't think so. They were looking the other way. They? How many were there? Just one guy. They were off in the distance near the cooling towers. I hand the scanner back to Javier, who scrutinizes the tiny device. There's nothing. You sure you pressed the button? The red one, right? Absolutely. There's nothing at all. No new signals indicating activity anywhere. How strange. I would have expected something. Unless... The fox suddenly looks at me with a worried expression, sending a chill down my spine. Unless... I can only think of two explanations. Either they know that we're here and are jamming my signals, or they're underground, and I'm about to test one of those theories. He aims the device towards the power plant, but this time slightly below the pipes. The screen illuminates. Figures. The signal's coming from underground. Is that normal? For a power plant? No. In any case, we should probably tell Ro about this. Oh, that's right. What's taking Ro so long? He said that it'd be quick. Speaking of which, let's head back. Something must be wrong with the car if he's still not here. We make our way back to the car, but something feels off. Where's Ro? Looks like something happened here recently. He points to the ground beside the car. There's large streaks in the gravel that seemingly lead nowhere. I stop and sniff the air, detecting Ro's faint scent overpowered by a stronger odor. Do you smell that? It smells almost... gasoline and burnt rubber. Do you think something happened to Ro? Maybe. But he was fixing the car earlier, so that would explain it. But it doesn't explain his disappearance. I don't think anything happened, but... Fuck it. Let me just try calling him. Something's wrong with his phone. It's unresponsive. Though his face remains expressionless, a faint note of concern tinges his voice. The fox walks up to the car's side and attempts to open the door, but it's locked. He retrieves the device from earlier and deftly presses a few buttons, prompting the trunk to pop open. You wouldn't know how to hotwire a car, would you? I shake my head and then he shrugs back expectantly as he makes his way to the trunk. Of course not. This doesn't feel right. How can someone as large as Ro just disappear off like that? Well, I can think of a few possibilities. He retrieves a couple of items from the trunk and discreetly tucks them into his coat. I shoot Javier a curious glance. Just bringing a couple of things for insurance. You know, a stun gun and a dazzler. He picks up a small metal rod from within the trunk before closing it. So, you think he's inside the power plant? It would make the most sense. It does. But I know Ro. He does things that make the least amount of sense. It's unlike him not to contact me, though. Let's take this opportunity to do some scouting as well. He fixes his gaze on me for a moment before speaking. Here. I met his gaze with a blank expression, cautiously accepting the metal rod. What's this for? For self-defense. Considering your build and what Ro told me about you, you probably won't need it, but hold on to it just in case. Is this one of those retractable metal rods people use in action movies? What, that? No, it's just a regular pipe. You think that we have the funding for fancy gadgets? I stare back blankly at the fox. Now come on, let's get going. We hasten our return to the pipes that we encountered earlier, deeming it the safest point of entry. As we move, Javier's eyes remain vigilant, ceaselessly scanning the surroundings. Hey Javier? Yes? Do you think that Ro climbed over the fence? It doesn't seem likely that he would go through the main gate. If he entered the power plant, then yes, it's something that he would do and is capable of. He stops talking and fixates a large pipe, going up on his toes to gain a better view inside the plant. Is the coast clear? I need you to climb up first and then pull me up. I step back and position myself towards the direction where I spotted the figure earlier. Okay, I think it's clear. I push the metal rod through the fence and onto the other side before approaching the pipe. This time I managed to ascend with relative ease, reaching the top in half the time. Upon reaching the top, I confirm that the area is free of any immediate threat. I turn around and extend my arm downward for Javier. He leaps upwards and I just manage to grasp his small, black paw. It takes a bit of effort, but my upper body strength is enough to pull Javier as well. Thank God he's small. I doubt that I could have done the same for Rao. We both shimmy along the pipe until it dips, and then we descend quickly into a sliding motion. I walk over and retrieve the rod while Javier waves me over. He points to a small crevice nestled between two sheds, sheltered by raised platforms overhead. I nod in response, taking his cue, and we proceed quietly, cautious about making too much noise on the gravel. Okay, so what's the plan? Well, the easiest way to locate Ro would be to call him, but since his phone is presumably dead... You don't have any tracking device or something for Ro? I do. That's what his phone is for. Anyway, we need access to the surveillance cameras, which means finding the security room. And that's easier said than done. Actually, it just might be... Theodore, can I ask you for a favor? What is it? He hands me his bit flipper from earlier. Listen carefully. This square button jams the signal when aimed at cameras, and this triangle button saves the location. I only need you to find 3 cameras. For each one, jam it and then save its location. Got it? I'm not so sure about this. I'm much bigger than you. I'm bound to get spotted. Didn't you say that you wanted to help out? Besides, your night vision's much better than mine. He gives me a cheeky smirk and nods. I guess that makes sense. Perfect. Now go. I'll try to contact Ro in the meantime. Turning around, I glance quickly around, then hug the side of the shed for cover. I crouch down and stealthily maneuver between containers and machinery, somewhat relieved to find nobody along the way. Good thing that we came early, or this would have been 10 times harder. Just as I'm about to turn a corner, I catch a glimpse of 2 large cameras positioned near the base of some overhead platforms across from a row of transformers. I do my best to line up the scanner from behind the corner and press the buttons in the prescribed order. Okay, just one more. With the cameras jammed, I swiftly make the turn and move beneath the platforms for cover, cautiously scanning my surroundings. I spot a clearing ahead, near a cooling tower. It appears to be a suitable location for a camera. As I approach, I hear deep grunting sounds grow louder. I take cover behind a transformer, being careful not to make contact, and peer towards the source of the noise. What the hell is going on? Despite the darkness, my grip tightens on the metal rod as I make out several figures relentlessly beating someone on the ground. Each of them carries some form of weapon, their swings merciless and brutal. There must be around 6 of them. They don't look like power plant workers. I squint my eyes, trying to discern the person being attacked, but their distance of at least several hundred feet makes it difficult to identify. Based on their spacing, it seems to be a larger individual. Wait, is that Ro? Without hesitation, I turn around and quickly jog back, retracing my steps to find Javier. I arrive at Javier practically out of breath, catching him off guard. Wait, a la verga, I almost had a heart attack. You're lucky that I didn't use my stun gun on you. My bad. So, are you being followed? No. Did you manage to scan 3 cameras? Shaking my head, I slump over and rest my arms on my knees. So what happened? Did you find Ro? Yes. Well, I mean no. I saw someone. They were on the ground surrounded by at least 6 other people. They were getting beaten. I couldn't get a clear view, but they looked large, like Ro. The fox tightly grips his arm, unsure of my words. This isn't a joke, right? I'm almost certain it's Ro. We have to help him. Go lead the way. Let's see what we can do. I rush back to where I had spotted the body, with Javier swiftly following behind. It looks like they're done with the assault. I gesture towards the motionless body lying on the ground in the distance, now that the attackers have left. It's dark, but I mean, it could be Ro. Even if it isn't, we have to check up on them. Just as I'm about to sprint over and aid Ro, Javier holds me back. Wait, someone's coming. We both look back at the body as another person carrying what appears to be a bat comes back into view. I avert my gaze as they start swinging at the body. Talk about cruel. We need to do something. Fine, if I have to. Do you think that you can carry Ro out of here? I hesitate, suddenly realizing that responsibility falls on me. Hopefully he's still conscious, because I don't think that I can carry him out of here. He might be too heavy for me. Then drag him. Okay, I guess I can do that. Great, now on the count of 3, we'll run. And if it's just one person, we can probably handle this. I'll distract the assailant while you get Ro, then we can make a break for it to the main gates. He points off in the distance to where the car is parked. Understood? I nod, slowly refocusing my attention on Ro in the distance. What the hell did I get myself into? Okay, ready? 1, 2... What the hell are you two doing? We turn around to see Ro appearing behind us, crouching down and peering over the corner to see what we're up to. Ro? Where the hell were you? Long story. I'll explain after. Thank God you're okay. Why wouldn't I be? I thought that you were over there, and we were just about to rescue you. Amidst the commotion, I faintly hear Ro chuckling as I point towards it, my face cringing from the onslaught that I'm witnessing. Fun. Well, in that case, I think it's best to leave now. Wait, we're not going to help them? Why should we? We're not even supposed to be here, remember? But... I look to Ro, hoping that he'll have a different perspective on this. His eyes bounce between me and the victim in the distance. Give me a second. Where are you going now? To help. Ro starts walking towards the attacker as Javier sighs heavily and shakes his head. There he goes again, doing reckless shit. It's a miracle that I'm still alive working with him. Wait, he's going in alone? We're not gonna help him? He should have taken this rod. I won't stop you if you want to help. I'm staying here. I look back and see Ro slowly making his way over, the wolf's stature much larger than the attacker. The assailant halts and takes notice of Ro as he draws near, mere feet away. They attempt to swing the bat at him, but he effortlessly catches it with his paw, twisting it out of their grasp and tossing it aside. In an instant, I flinch as the wolf throws a powerful punch straight at their face, sending them crashing to the ground. Holy shit! Javier scoffs beside me, shrugging nonchalantly. They'll live. Ro motions for us to come over as he stands tall over the body on the ground. Coast is clear. I reluctantly follow Javier, scanning the surroundings, making sure no one else is around. Now that I'm close, I know the attacker must be some kind of raccoon, now knocked out cold. Just a couple of feet away, there's a boar cradled in the fetal position, facing the ground and wearing a dark jacket. You guys thought this guy was me? You're joking. I nervously chuckle, realizing my mistake. He's right. They're closer to my height and look nothing like Ro besides the color of the clothing. I guess I was mistaken. Quickly, search that thug. Let's see what we have here. Javier pulls a pair of gloves, crouching down, and retrieves his phone to carefully examine the unconscious attacker. Hey, are you awake? He stares at the beaten boar. No reply. What a fucking pain. As I take in the whole situation, I feel drops of rain hitting the side of my snout. It's starting to rain. My hushed comment catches Javier's attention, and he looks at me with an apathetic eyes. Good. Hopefully the rain will help wash away our scent. Ro rolls the boar over effortlessly, then turns to us with a concerned expression as he places an ear on their chest. I recoil in disgust upon seeing the boar's bruised and bloodied face. I didn't need to see that. Fucking hell. His heart stopped. He places his paw on their battered chest and immediately begins performing CPR. Feeling queasy from the sight, I decide to look away. After several awkward moments of silence, the wolf's the first to speak up. Javier, stun gun. Yeah, I'm on it. The fox paces over, taking out a stun gun and passing it to Ro. The wolf proceeds to tear open the boar's clothing with his fangs before glancing up at the sky. Ro spreads out his coat, providing shelter for the boar from the increasingly intense rain. Is it really a good idea to be doing this in the middle of... Hey, there's people here! Get them! I turn towards the voices and my eyes widen as I spot two tall figures dressed in black, slowly advancing towards us from the cooling towers, each brandishing a knife. My legs freeze and a heavy knot forms on my stomach, inducing a wave of nausea. Guys? We got company. Stall them. I'm occupied with CPR here. Fuck. My legs finally respond and I slowly back away, clutching the rod close to my chest, terror gripping me. Hey, where are you going? You think that I can take on these clowns myself? My eyes quickly bounce between Javier, Ro, and the approaching figures. I don't think that I can. I make out the pair just as they draw closer, a weasel and a raccoon. Suddenly, the weasel locks onto the fox and makes a mad dash towards him. Panic starts to swell. What the fuck do I do? Kill them! They've seen too much. A little help would be nice. I tighten my grip, weighing my options. Fuck it, it's not like this is the first time that I've done something like this. The weasel jumps towards Javier, while the other larger figure focuses on me. Ro, you better hurry the fuck up. Suddenly the huge thug lunges at me with a knife, but I manage to dodge it in time with a quick backstep. I close my eyes, tightening my grip on the metal shaft. With all my strength, I swing the rod downwards. Ah! The thug cries out in pain, dropping the knife. They react swiftly as a punch hurtles towards my face. I try to dodge to the side, but I slip and drop the rod. Shit! I fall next to the knife and waste no time picking it up. Suddenly, a sharp, intense pain jolts through my thigh as I attempt to get up. Ah, fuck! I glance up and see a leg winding up for another kick. Without thinking, I slash out with the knife, putting all my force into an awkward angle. Ah! You fucking punk! You're dead now! I struggle to rise to my feet, flinching from the pain in my leg. The thug retrieves the radio from their pocket. Bring backup out now! Shit, this isn't good. I can barely take on one guy. How are we supposed to handle more? I try to call out for Ro, but stop as I raise my arms to intercept a relentless, impending strike. Ah! Ow, that fucking hurts. I drop the knife, pain coursing through my arms, and my assailant takes the opportunity to grab it. In a split-second decision, I blindly kick as hard as I can. Not today, you shithead! My kick is intercepted and my leg is pulled out from underneath me. I fall flat on my back, wincing as I clutch my tail. All the air leaves my chest from the sudden impact, leaving me winded. As my attacker looms over me, preparing for the final blow, I try to yell for help, but I can't catch my breath. This is it. I'm gonna die, aren't I? Get fucked! Is that Javier? What is he? A sudden blinding fierce light engulfs the sky, causing my vision to be overwhelmed by a bright white. An ear-piercing ring fills my ears and the world around me seems to spin. Instinctively, I shut my eyes, but the after images in neon colors only increase my disorientation. Am I dead? Did lightning strike? What just happened? The ringing becomes unbearable and my thoughts become incomprehensible in the chaos. What? Where am I? My head. Battling disorientation, I fight to reorient myself, but a guttural groan escapes as searing pain courses through my thigh. I gaze blankly ahead, my eyes gradually refocusing, my body weighed down and soaked by the rain. There is a large figure in front of me. Is that Ro? And who's he on top of? I can't make it out from the way that they're positioned. Ro? Wait, that is Ro. Ro lifts his paw and swings it down with full force, barely intercepted by the person underneath, causing their paw to strike the ground. Ah! Ro, is that you? As my vision finally returns to normal, everything falls into place. I'm left in shock, watching Ro fight off my attacker. Ro skillfully immobilizes the attacker's head, foiling their attempt to sink their teeth into him. I flinch as I watch the wolf forcefully slam the raccoon's head onto the wet ground, abruptly ending the fight. Holy fuck! I stare at Ro as he slowly rises, his posture and stance still poised for another round. Glancing around, I notice Javier's assailant lying face down, several feet away. Over here. I turn to the whisper behind me and find the fox on the ground, wincing in pain, clutching his right shoulder. Heh, I forgot to warn you about the flash. That was horrible. I never want to experience that again. He chuckles, then swiftly shifts his attention to Ro. Slowly the fox gets up, still holding his injured shoulder. I struggle to follow suit, my entire body protesting. Let's get the fuck out of here. I've reached my monthly quota for physical altercations. Ro walks towards us with concern. You guys okay? Can you walk? He primarily focuses on my injured leg. Yeah. I managed to return a weak smile despite the throbbing pain in my thigh and survey the entire scene. The three thugs lie motionless, one of them with blood staining their leg. Right, I did that. All right then, let's go. I shift my gaze to the boar being lifted by Ro's sturdy arms. Quit daydreaming. Let's move, unless you'd rather stay here. Wait, what happened to them? Are they... Questions outside. Main gates. We shouldn't linger. The two make haste with their steps, and I try my best to limp past the bodies on the ground without staring any further. What a mess. The rain is easing up, thankfully in a light drizzle now. I manage to hobble my way out, with Javier taking the lead, disabling any remaining cameras and eventually unlocking the gate. The wolf effortlessly carries the boar in his arms, while Javier runs alongside. Enduring the pain, I glance behind me to check for any potential followers. Nothing, thank God. After what feels like an eternity, I finally catch up with them. Rose crouching beside the boar, with Javier handing him a small dark bottle of rubbing alcohol. Looks like our friend here lucked out. Everything seems stable. As stable as things can get, I suppose. Ro hands back a bottle and removes his gloves. He cleans the man's face and the exposed chest fur through the torn shirt. Thank God no one else came out. Javier smirks and takes out a device similar to the earlier scanner, waving it in front of me. You're welcome. The fox puts away the bottle and gloves into the trunk and then examines the guy once more, shaking his head. Poor guy. He's lucky you're such a skilled surgeon. You're kidding. Even you could have done this. It's first aid. Wait, you're a surgeon? The wolf carefully picks up the boar as Javier opens up the back door. Hardly. I went to medical school but dropped out. Oh? Why's that? Javier shrugs. I know bits and pieces, but it's something about his family. Ro ignores our comments and carefully places the boar in the back seat, barely managing to fit him in. If you guys have time to chat, you can discuss how the hell we'll be driving to the hospital. There's no space in the car for all four of us. Why don't we just call an ambulance? We cut the round trip in half for them. Plus, we don't want to explain what happened to Mr. Piggy here. Javier tries to open the driver's side door, but Ro holds it shut. Hey! Get in the trunk. We don't have time to waste. Excuse me? What about my shoulder? I'm not going in the trunk. Remember last time If he dies, it'll be on you. His ears flatten as he sullenly makes his way to the trunk. I'm expecting some proper compensation later tonight. The stuffy air of the car mixed with our damp clothes is extremely uncomfortable. The windshield's fogged up, but Ro turns on the AC. Do you mind if I take off my shirt? It's really wet. Ro turns back and picks up my jacket that's on the floor, passing it to me. Put this on, at least. I peel the clinging damp shirt off my body, which Ro takes from me and deftly tucks it away behind the seat. Startled by the cold breeze, I quickly slip into my jacket. So... off to the hospital now? Ro remains unresponsive, engrossed in studying the controls before swiftly shifting into drive and steering away, his eyes fixed on the gate ahead. I get a good look at Ro and can't help but grin when I realize how funny he looks hunched over driving. My smile quickly fades as the awkward silence settles in. I hold onto my seat when I realize how fast we're going. As I glance at the dashboard, I catch the wolf stealing a look at me, triggering my recollection of Javier's earlier remark. Now might not be the right time to bring it up. Maybe I should ask about what happened back there instead. There was a bright flash earlier, and I think I lost consciousness for a bit. Do you know what happened? Javier used his dazzler to save you. I tackled the asshole off of you after that, and took care of them. You should probably thank him later. Ah, and what about Javier's attacker? I'm not sure. Looks like he handled it himself, although not without sustaining injury. We didn't kill them, did we? Probably not. I swallow hard, trying not to dwell on the thought of being labeled a murderer. How's your leg? Huh? I look down at my leg, gently prodding the area and immediately regretting it as a jolt of pain shoots down. It hurts when I move or touch it. It kinda feels like it has its own pulse. Let's take a look when we're back. What is it? I feel bad. This was completely avoidable. Sorry for putting you two in danger. I promise that it won't happen again. He ends his thought abruptly, and a sense of storm of emotions hidden behind his unyielding gaze ahead. Not knowing what to say, I wave a paw dismissively and point to the back seat. It's fine. But what about him? What about him? How's he doing? Internal bleeding, probably fractured arms and digits, chest burnt, and a lot of small cuts. But I've seen worse. Glad his legs aren't broken, or we'd have a fun time getting him in. Jeez. He's gonna be okay, right? I hope so. Can you check if he's still breathing? I turn around properly and crane my head over to study the man laying on his side towards us. Yeah, I think so. then he'll live. He might know something, so I'm sure Javier is going to follow up on that. You don't think that this has anything to do with my texts? The wolf shrugs. There's definitely some kind of gathering here, now that we know what we're dealing with. We can't risk going back. Okay, but what's going to happen to me? The loud banging from the back startles me. Hey, I can still hear you guys, you know. We need to get back to get answers. We were so close. Javier's muffled voice echoes from the back. Ro casts me a glance, looking unimpressed. You might be right, but it's too dangerous. Look at you guys. I'm surprised that you two made it out with the injuries that you have. We would have been fine if you helped us and didn't play hero to save the pig. And now I'm stuck here because of it. The fox in the back continues making remarks, but I can barely hear him over the sound of the rain, which has picked up again, masking his voice. Rose smirks and ignores Javier's comments, continuing to drive. The car lulls into a tranquil silence, accompanied by the soothing sound of heavy rain cascading around us. I stare off into the distance. The cool air-conditioned breeze relaxes me. My eyes grow heavy from exhaustion. Today's been one hell of a ride already. Huh? Rubbing my eyes a few times, I focus to find Ro poised by the door, brandishing an enormous clear umbrella. I quickly look at the driver's seat and then behind me. Both empty. Morning. We're getting food. His words are muffled by the glass, but luckily I can make them out. What happened to your suit? He groans, sounding slightly disappointed. It's soaked. I threw it in the trunk. Now let's go. I stick close behind him, trying to avoid the puddles as he guides me through the small empty streets. We're back in the city, but I don't see the familiar silhouette of the Grand Marine in the horizon. Where are we? What happened to that guy? We're in the neighboring city. I figured that we'd come here since it's close to the hospital. Javier can fill you in on everything. He chuckles and I return a forced chuckle back as I remember what had happened earlier. I walk up to a small building with the words Puma's Brew on top. After you. He opens the door and I spot Javier motioning to us from back as I walk in. It's a nice and quiet cafe, a bit small with a lone Puma working behind the counter, organizing things. It seems like a good place to unwind after what happened. I walk over to a small rectangular wooden table and take a seat across from Javier. About time. I'll be back. Bathroom. Yeah. Have fun touching yourself in there. Javier imitates a shooing motion towards Ro as he hangs his umbrella. The wolf retaliates by smacking him on the shoulder, leaving the fox flinching in pain before departing. That hurt you, mutt. He turns his attention back to me, his annoyed expression dissipating as he massages his shoulder with a paw. Are you okay? No, I'm not. Well, I can't say that I didn't try. Maybe we should talk about something else. Do you guys come here often? You can say that. We debrief and get food here. The owner here is a childhood friend of mine. Oh, I see. He also acts as an informant for us. He takes a sip of his coffee that's been sitting there since we arrived. Sleep well? I tried to wake you up earlier, but you wouldn't budge. Must be nice, not having to huddle up in the trunk like a ball. Ah, yeah. I glance down at the table but look back up when I hear Javier laughing. He downs a cup of coffee in front of me and grins as he passes me a menu. I'm just messing with you, mostly. How's your leg? It still hurts when I move it, but it's manageable. I should be fine. What happened to the man we found? We dropped him off at the hospital, quite literally. I cock a brow in confusion. What do you mean? Ro and I placed him in a secluded area of the hospital parking lot and called for an ambulance from a payphone. Can't afford to get caught. That's a lot simpler than I thought, especially considering the tools that you have at your disposal. Sometimes simpler is better. Oh, right. Thanks for saving me back there at the power plant. Ro told me that you used your dazzler to stun the guy. His face lights up almost immediately, takes out the dazzler from his coat and twirls it in his paw. You mean this? Oh, it was nothing. Didn't mean to blind you either, but I didn't have time to explain. He chuckles and puts it back in his coat. You saved my life. I'm pretty sure that raccoon was about to end me. He shrugs. Don't mention it. If you died, I would have been next. Huh, I guess. Rose sits down without saying a word, his gaze fixated on his phone. He eventually puts it away and waves the Puma from behind the counter over. I quickly glance over at the menu, but nothing in particular catches my interest. The Puma comes over and smiles at us. Dust, how's business? When are you going to quit and come work for us? Ro gives a nod at them, who return the gesture and grins at Javier. Good, and I could never. The cafe means too much to me. The Puma lets out a hearty chuckle. But it's been a while, hasn't it? What brings you guys around this time? Another case. You know how it is. Aye, I do. Dust finally notices me and grins. New team member? No, he's accompanying us for this investigation. Oh, that's rare. You're lucky. He looks at me, waiting for a reply. Theodore. Aye, Theodore. I'm sure that you heard, but I'm Dust. Hope the two of them don't give you too much of a hard time. They had a bad experience in the past working with another civilian. Don't get me started. I'm still healing from the injuries. I chuckle nervously as Javier sneers at his own remark. No, they've been great. They've been a big help. The Puma nods approvingly. I'm sure that they have. Now, what do you guys have? The usual for us. And for you, Theodore? Oh, I'll just have what they're getting. Ro nods back to Dust and hands him the menu. There you have it. Give me a bit to get your orders, fellas. The Puma walks off and immediately Javier gives a look to Ro. So, you gonna tell us or what? Where the hell did you go earlier? Ro stares at Javier and then at me. Actually, I was about to bring that up. The wolf leans his arms forward, practically taking up the whole table. The MAF sensor was loosened because of that little accident earlier. Luckily, I found it a few blocks up the road. Why was the MAF sensor loose? A couple of bumps shouldn't have done that. Exactly. Why? I examined the rest of the hood, but couldn't find anything. MAF? Mass airflow sensor. It's used to measure the amount of air in the engine for optimal combustion. Not like the engine would have exploded, but it's definitely odd that it fell off. Tss. I'll report that back. ARC needs to get better vetting for our rented vehicles. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we drive your car next time? Keep dreaming. Wait, didn't we try to call you two? About that. The wolf reluctantly takes out his phone and places it on the table. I may have dropped my phone in a puddle on the way back. The fox groans and examines the phone, shaking his head at Ro begrudgingly. What is this, your third time this year? And they're supposed to be waterproof. How'd you waterlog your phone? My paws were wet and it slipped out. Javier looks beyond disappointed and is about to retort, but Dust comes back with our food. I see everyone's in high spirits. You can say that. The Puma chuckles and hands out our orders on the table. We all get served a cup of coffee, and Ro and I also receive a side of pastries. By the way, I got something interesting you guys might want to hear. You have my attention. The Puma thinks for a second before replying. You guys know about the tech convention that's happening right now? Not too far from here? Yeah, the TAI, right? Aye, that's the one. What about it? Allegedly, there was a failed break-in last night. Heard this from one of my customers last night. Sounds suspicious. Anything stolen? No details on that. All I know was that whoever tried to break in couldn't get past all the locks. They were targeting the room that housed tech and equipment for Redgenics, Q-Link, No Televisions, and a few others that I forgot the names of. Q-Link? Ugh, wish they had their shit stolen. As the fox continues talking, my ears perk up upon processing Dust's words. Wait. I fish out the business card David had given me and present it on the table. No Televisions. I got this from the CEO's son yesterday. Well, well, aren't you full of surprises? What a coincidence. Maybe I could visit David later and ask him about this? First name basis too, huh? Though this could be another potential lead. Or not. Maybe. That's unfortunately all the new things I know. Thanks, it's always interesting hearing what you gotta share. Dust nudges Xavier and smirks. Anything for you guys. He waves goodbye and walks off to attend to another table. I take this time to eat what pastries are left while Javier speaks up moments later, looking at Ro and me. Let's see what we know so far about you. You got attacked at the casino, sent an ominous text telling you to go to the power plant. But we found the boar there after getting attacked by some gang members. I have no clue who those members were. Didn't look like any gang that I have ever seen. I'll need to do some research later. Those people weren't playing around. They were out to kill us. Maybe, but why didn't they kill that man? They did, but I saved him. I mean, why didn't they kill him immediately? Ro shrugs. Who cares? Well, anyway, there's also the attempted theft that happened last night. All that we really learned is that whoever sent those texts might pose an actual threat to Theodore and us. Possibly. Also, that man was wearing different clothing than the rest of them. Might have been a power plant worker. But he didn't look like a worker. I say that we go back there later tonight and figure out what's going on. I detected signals underneath the power plant earlier. No. That's reckless. Sure it is, but they're a shady gang. They must have ties to other dark dealings across the city. And don't say that we don't have time. Andrew told us to get to the bottom of this no matter how long it takes. Rose sighs, thinking for a moment before stroking his beard, looking at me. Javier might have a point. This city is rumored to have one particularly strong underground network of corruption. Admit it, this is our strongest lead so far. It could be worth a shot. But we're doing things my way if we go. Sure. I'm also interested in hearing about what our friend saw if he ever wakes up. I finish my cup of coffee and the three of us sit in silence for a while before Ro gets up and looks at us. Let's move. I hide beneath the eaves with Ro, shielded from the torrential downpour as Javier races down the street, wrestling with Ro's rebellious umbrella against the wind. Man, what happened? How'd he get this bad so fast? It's pouring so hard outside, I feel bad for him. I see the Vox get into the car, but after waiting for over a minute, it still hasn't moved. something's wrong. Glancing back, I catch sight of Javier. He's racing towards us, utterly drenched with no umbrella in sight. He appears frustrated, his breaths coming in short, ragged gasps. What, missed us that much? No, you mutt. The car won't start. Don't look at me. I'm not checking it in this kind of weather. Ah, fuck it. I'm calling a tow truck. Let's head back inside. We step back in, only to be greeted by Dust. Back so soon? Did you guys forget something? Car won't start, so I'm calling a tow truck. Oh, that's a shame. Where are you guys headed? Need a ride? The Grand Marine. That's a ways away from here, but my offer still stands. What's the catch? No catch, just settling old debts, and the weather does make it a good day to close early. In that case, Theodore, hand me your phone so that I can stay in touch. Oh, sure. Javier takes my phone and uses it to scan some kind of QR code on his phone. I'm gonna set up a proxy contact with you, okay? A what? A proxy contact. Think of it as a direct connect. And done here. He hands me back my phone. Do I need to do anything with this? No, not necessarily. I'll call you later if I need to reach Ro. Now you guys go ahead. I need to wait for the tow truck driver. Maybe I'll return this piece of trash and get a bigger car. Theodore's shirt is still inside. Make sure to clear that out. Okay. All good now? Then please follow me. We'll take the back exit to my car. We leave Javier at the Puma's Brew, drenched in the few moments between the cafe and Dust's SUV. The weather feels ominous, as though a hurricane looms. The Grand Marine, was it? Yes. We drive off the parking lot and get on the freeway after passing countless spotlights. We hit the road bypassing numerous stoplights before reaching the freeway. Dust and Ro chat while my focus drifts to the unfolding storm outside. I really hope the rain stops soon. Theodore, was it? Huh? Oh, yeah, what's up? Is it true? What are we talking about? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Yes, it's true. I saw it. Another skeleton user. Highly psychotic. Oh, yeah. I was attacked by a disheveled-looking man yesterday. So the reports are true then. What reports? I haven't seen it myself, but I've read the skeleton overdose and related attacks have spiked recently in the past months. Remembering Ro's mention of aggression symptoms, I nod. That makes sense, but why the sudden surge? There was a number of possible reasons, but I personally think that someone is distributing to the vulnerable. My thoughts exactly. There was a small break in the conversation before stories of Dust and Javier replaced the grim topic, easing the monotony of the traffic-filled, stormy journey. Though my attention drifts, the infectious laughter of Dust and the witty remarks of Ro succeed in brightening the mood. Eventually, we arrive at the familiar driveway of the Grand Marine. It feels like forever since I was last here. Hi, you guys stay safe now, you hear? Thanks. Anytime. Take care, you two. Thank you. Struggling out of the car, I hobble towards the entrance. Ro, already inside, watches with concern. He graciously keeps the door open for me while shaking his head. Watching you walk like that hurts me. Come back to my room so that I can take a look at your leg. Okay. As Ro walks beside me, reminiscent of a nursing home, a tinge of embarrassment arises as we walk through the lobby. Hey, can I ask about Dust? The wolf casts a glance over at me. What? It was kind of him to drive us here. That's 'cause he's in our debt. Well, Javier's debt. Oh? The fox helps with his taxes. What do you mean by helps? It's legitimate, right? Ro shrugs and then smirks at me. Who knows? Entering the room, a whiff of fresh linen mixes with a faint chemical smell greets us. Looks like housekeeping came by. Have a seat. We've got an hour before Cyprus starts moving their stuff to Hall C. Obeying, I settle onto the freshly made bed, watching Ro retrieve a bottle from a drawer to disinfect his paws. On a scale of 10, how bad is the pain? When I'm sitting like this, it's a 2, but movement sends it to a 6. What about when I touch it? I'm not sure, maybe an 8? How about your tail? How's that doing? Oh, it's more or less healed. He walks over and carefully takes off the makeshift bandage with a claw and throws it away. Thanks again. I hesitate for a second before staring at Ro, trying to process my thoughts accordingly. I don't understand what's going on. Staring down at my empty paws, I decide to speak the main thing on my mind, as everything's catching up with me. I'm scared. Ro looks at me in surprise. His expression quickly shifts to concern before he walks over and takes a seat next to me. Go on. His voice comes out slow and emphatic. I don't know. Everything's happening so fast. First my tail and now my thigh. What's it going to be next time? I hold my words and stare silently at the floor. There won't be a next time. I'll do a better job next time. There is a hint of hesitation in his voice, followed by a low, drawn-out sigh. I want to apologize. This is all my fault. I can't recall ever seeing him this upset before, if ever. I admit, I was so caught up in saving this man's life that I forgot about you guys. No, you're fine. I think you did the right thing. It all worked out in the end, right? You saved the boar's life. It's not an excuse, but I just don't want anyone to experience what I went through, if I can help prevent it. What did he go through? What do you mean? His gaze is distant and he looks defeated. Maybe I shouldn't have asked. I extend my hand to Ro's paw on the bed, giving it a gentle nudge. Hey. That seems to do the trick as he snaps out of his glazed stare. Thanks. I feel better after talking it out. Right. And I'll do better too, keeping you and Javier safe. I appreciate that. Oh, and speaking about Javier, he said that I should ask you about something about me. He told me this at the power plant. He glances at me but swiftly averts his eyes when he realizes that I've caught his gaze, clearing his throat awkwardly. Yes, I was talking about you with Javier. Listen, I don't talk about this stuff often, so I'll just say it. I think that there's a strength in you, a resilience that I admire, that's been made more clear today after that fight. I just want you to know that I am here for you. Despite what happened earlier, I feel a sense of responsibility to be someone that you can rely on, now more than ever. I hope that you don't take this the wrong way. I'm acknowledging what I see in you and expressing how it makes me feel. That's it. I nod slowly, my cheeks flushing at his words as I try to absorb what Ro is saying. I see. I'm not sure what to say, but thanks? Why me though? We only just met yesterday. My thoughts exactly. I empathize with you. After seeing you fall asleep on my bed yesterday, I couldn't help but realize how hard it must be for you. So I know how you feel, and I'm just trying to help out the way that I know best. I break eye contact and stare at the ground. His words carry a weight to them that I can't ignore. Thanks. I guess you're a softie at heart, after all? Softie? I wouldn't say that. I glance back and see the wolf flustered, his expression endearing and rather cute. I chuckle at him, and our eyes lock, leaving us staring at each other in a comfortable silence. Normally, a moment like this would be awkward with anyone else, but I find myself enjoying this brief connection. He offers a small, reassuring nod, followed by a quick wink. The unexpected gesture catches me off guard, making me blush once again. Hope you're feeling better. Yeah, emotionally. Not my leg, though. Right, let me take a look at that. Bro gets back up and kneels down before me, examining my right thigh, his head at my chest level. He motions his paw to my thigh. Do you mind? No, go ahead. He carefully rolls up the right side of my shorts towards my waistband, exposing my thigh to the wolf. He puts a paw above and below my thigh and gently feels my injury. His paws are extremely large and firm, the warmth of his paw seeping through my fur and onto my skin. If it weren't for the pain distracting me, this would have gone much differently by now. I wince in discomfort as he continues to explore my body, his touch resembling a prodding massage. His face leans closer for a better examination, inadvertently nearing my crotch. He parts my fur to unveil the bruise, the mere touch inciting another jolt of pain. That tender, huh? You see this, right? I follow his gaze to the bruised patch of skin peeking through my fur. Nasty bruise. Yeah. Let's see the extent of this. We both look at each other. Rose's expression is more annoyed than surprised. Shit, what a buzzkill. What the hell is going on with my phone? It's the proxy contact. Must be Javier. Does it always vibrate like that? Only the first time connecting. I struggle to bend over to reach for the phone in my shorts, but Ro beats me to it and fishes it out. I got this. It's Ro. Okay. He turns on the speakerphone and the sound of heavy rain fills the room. You guys enjoying each other's company? I can hear Javier laughing through the rain. I'm hanging it up now, if that's the only thing that you wanted to say. Wait, I have some good news that you guys might want to hear. Go on. The man, the boar, he's awake. I called the hospital just now, and they said that he woke up not too long ago. Really? Let's pay him a visit later, after Cyprus, of course. Guessing we're not going too early to scout around then. No, I don't think that I'll make it in time for that. We'll move on to Plan B. What's Plan B? We'll scout around during their keynote. What? But what if we get caught? A valid concern, but I got just the thing. Call us when you're near. We'll wait for you in the lobby. A please wouldn't kill you, would it? Ro hangs up the call and hands my phone back to me. We decide to take a breather and tidy up as we anticipate Javier's call. I nurse my bruise with a bag of ice that Ro had kindly retrieved from down the hall. Ro, meanwhile, has retreated to the bathroom, stating that his fur requires a thorough rinse under the hot shower. I admit to myself that I could also benefit from a good scrub once he's finished. I lower the ice pack to examine my thigh. I think the swelling's going down. My mind thinks back to earlier. Man. After that incident, he's undoubtedly aware of my feelings, and it's changing how I perceive Ro. The mere thought of him making my cheeks flush. Maybe I should have a conversation with him later to avoid any misunderstandings. I cast a glance at the door, then check my phone. No missed calls. Piqued, I rise and peer through the spy hole. I see Javier through the lens, carrying a small briefcase while engrossed in a phone conversation. Wait, why didn't he call? Did he forget? As I open the door, the fox puts away his phone and adjusts his collar. Theodore. He gives me a curt nod and strides into the room. Sorry for not calling. I was tied up contacting the hospital again. I finally obtained the man's The fox stops midway to the bedroom and stops, turns, and stares at me. You smell interesting. Smells like what exactly happened while I was gone? God, this is so embarrassing. What do I even say? Nothing. We were just resting. He sniffs towards my mouth before growing a dubious grin. Resting, huh? Wish I could say the same. The fox moves closer to me and chuckles. For future references, consider using the disinfectant in Rose's top drawer. It'll disguise your earthy undertones much better. Can't go around having you smell like tiger musk and semen. I try to think of a response, but my mind awkwardly blanks out. There's no coming back from this one. I just got destroyed. I forgot something in my car. Maybe use this time to freshen up while I'm gone. He smirks and pats my stomach gently. For me, please. The fox steps back, out, and disappears out in the hallway, as I'm left embarrassed. Man. I walk over to the drawer and open it, finding the can of disinfectant Javier had mentioned about. As I begin spraying, a sudden twitch tingles in my nose. Achoo! Oh god, I must have used too much. This stuff's irritating my nose. Achoo! Hastily returning the can to its place, I attempt to soothe my nostrils by airing out my jacket. Achoo! I rush over to the countertop, taking out some tissues for my nose. Ugh, this is so uncomfortable. Did I accidentally spray too much? Well, at least my scent isn't off-putting anymore. I hope. You got it. Sorry, can you explain it to me one more time? Achoo! Despite my attempts to suppress a sneeze, the sound erupts loudly. God, are you sure you're alright? I nod back reassuringly, my nose still itching. Yeah. His gaze lingers concerningly before starting his explanation again. When Javier comes back, we're gonna head down to Cyprus in Hall C. Since you're here, we're gonna use your pass and head on in. Once we're in, we'll sit as far back as we can. When they have their intermission, that's when we'll make our way down and backstage. That should connect to the storage room, and we should be able to look around undisturbed. Right. Wait, we? We're gonna need you to watch guard while we investigate. There is a limited window of opportunity. Are you sure? But why don't we do it, after? There is a high probability that what we're looking for will be gone by then. Don't worry, you can always feign ignorance if you get caught. Pretend that you're searching for the restroom. Okay, I guess. The urge to sneeze comes back again, and I quickly cover my mouth with my arm. Achoo! You were fine before my shower. I think it's a disinfectant that I used. I missed it all over myself and now it's irritating my nose. He glares at me and then over to the drawer. You mean the one in my drawer? Why? Javier came by before he left to fetch something. He mentioned that I had a musky odor and, Achoo! Did he? That fox needs to mind his own fucking business. He mutters something to himself before focusing back on me. It looks like you're allergic. Really? But I've used disinfectant like these before. I've never had a problem. This is medical grade, so it's a lot more potent. He gestures towards me, specifically my jacket. You should take that off. It'll help. But I don't have anything underneath. Right. Here, I can give you something to wear. He walks over, opens a small drawer, and pulls out a blue t-shirt from a small knapsack inside. Catch. I catch the shirt and inspect it. There is a cute little mascot in the center. Is this yours? Do you want it or not? I do, I I didn't expect you to have something like this. I also didn't expect you to be so forward with me. Let's talk about that later. A gentle knock reverberates from behind, and simultaneously we both direct our gazes towards the sound. Oh, looks like Javier's back. I quickly strip off the jacket, tossing it aside before putting on the shirt, which fits snugly. Are you two gentlemen ready to go? We don't have all day. His muffled voice reaches through the door, and we both look at each other. There is still so much that I want to ask Ro about earlier, but it'll just have to wait. I guess it's time to get moving, huh? Let's. After picking up Ro's coat from Javier's new rental, we arrive at the convention center. The place is as bustling as it was yesterday, possibly even more so. Ro pioneers our path, guiding us from one escalator to the next as we journey from Hall A to C. Down a lengthy corridor, I glance behind to find Javier wrestling his way through the swarm of bustling attendees. He weaves through the crowd, managing to align himself next to me. Where all these people come from? And why is everyone here so tall? His last comment seems directed at me, given the pointed stare I'm receiving. Looks like everyone's on their way to Hall C. Maybe they're all checking out Cyprus too? Ah yes, that's right. How much of Cyprus do you know? Nothing too extensive, but I did read up on them before coming here. They're a biotech firm, right? Something about capturing atmospheric carbon dioxide? Why do you ask? Achoo! Rubbing my itchy nose, I try to alleviate the discomfort. Javier looks taken aback by my sudden sneeze. Bless you. Nothing. Just wanted to pick your brain. Javier dodges my inquisitive glance as he takes out his phone and starts jotting something down. Is that it? He concludes his note-taking, meeting my query with a self-satisfied smirk. Yes. I wonder what he's up to. We continue walking forward, following Ro towards the entrance of Hall C. A lengthy queue is visible on the venue's opposite side, which I presume is for Cyprus. Looks like we're heading that way. The wolf points in the direction of the line. As we continue walking over, it's clear that the line isn't for Cyprus, with signs displaying Lineage Lab all across the walls. But there shouldn't be any other presentations in Hall C now, right? You're correct. I checked their schedule before entering and they should be presenting at this time. Something must have happened, clearly. Maybe Cyprus relocated last minute. Isn't Lineage Lab the company that does ancestral DNA species tracing? I thought that they were presenting tomorrow. Looks like there's been a change of plans. Let me think about what this means. Glancing over, I notice Ro standing aside, courteously approaching a busy-looking feline engrossed on her phone while waiting in line. Excuse me, do you know where Cyprus is presenting? Taken aback, she gives Ro a startled look before shifting her gaze to Javier and me. Cyprus? Their keynote was cancelled. Unless you meant something else? Cancelled? Any idea why? Actually, I'm not too sure. You could probably find out why if you ask around. Alright, thanks for your time. Ro signals his gratitude with a nod as Javier grabs a hold of Ro's sleeve, casting him a doubtful look. There's too much of a coincidence. You don't think that it might be related to the attempted robbery from last night? Maybe another attempted robbery or something else. Maybe. We won't know just standing here though. Let's get moving with our plan. Plan? But their presentation's been cancelled. Where are we gonna go now? Are you sure the things that you're looking for will still be there? I don't know, but it's still worth looking around for clues. This is legal, right? Snooping around like this? Yes. It's perfectly legal, as long as we don't get caught. Suddenly it hits me. I don't even know what we're supposed to be searching for. Is it okay if I ask what exactly we're looking for? The two glance at each other before returning their attention to me. It's a box of plants. Huh. Plants? We can explain later. Now let's get going. Eventually, we venture down a side passageway that branches into a dim, narrow staff-only corridor nestled in the seclusion of Hall C's rear. The three of us stop before a massive steel door, its black surface imposing. There is a door plate besides it. Storage. So, this is where Cypress is keeping their things? Based on the schematics of Hall C, yes. Not just Cypress, but other companies presenting Hall C too, probably the same ones that Dust mentioned earlier. Rose scans the surroundings before signaling Javier that the coast is clear. The Fox takes out his bit flipper and aims it down the corridor directly at a camera, then returns back to the door in front of us. A pin tumbler lock, huh? Suddenly, echoing footsteps can be heard down the corridor. Rose, ears twitch, and we both turn towards the source. Quickly. I look around and realize that we're stuck in the middle of a hallway with nowhere to hide. Javier grunts back in protest as he continues to rake the lock with his pick. Don't rush me, I'm working on it. The Fox's paw works in a swift, measured movements. The lockpick twirls, jingles, and turns, his grip tightening on the handle. From my viewpoint, it's impossible to tell whether he's making any headway. The tension is almost palpable. Move aside. Ro positions his body to tackle the door open. Suddenly, with an almost inaudible click, the lock gives way. Wait, I got it! Javier pushes the door open just as Ro lunges forward, his momentum carrying both of them into the darkness beyond the door. Startled, I dart into the darkness after them, quickly slamming the door shut behind me. The echo of our intrusion dies down, leaving us in complete silence. Stepping into the shadows, my nose instantly reacts to the stale air inside. The room is nearly pitch black. A feeble light dangles at the back, stretching eerie shadows everywhere. Pinche wey, ¿estás pendejo o qué? 1 inch to the right and I could have been flattened. Apologize. Relax. The poor light causes me to bump into Javier, who's crouched over, causing him to snap back at me with a low growl. Watch the shoulder, you cat. Sorry. Shh. We freeze as the echo of footsteps grows louder, ominously stopping right outside the entrance. Hide. Without hesitation, Javier sprints off into the darkness, while Ro swiftly guides me towards a pile of cardboard boxes nestled away from view of the door. We crouch low, Ro stealthily peering through a slit between the boxes. Don't move. I can hear the metallic jingle of a key entering the lock, followed by the slow creak of the door as it swings open, letting the stark hallway light infiltrate the dim room. My nose twitches in override, a sneeze imminent. Shit, not like this. Panic drowns my thoughts as I frantically pinch my nostrils, desperate not to blow our cover. Suddenly a paw clamps over my maw, muffling the eruption, all while Ro pulls me into his chest, effectively smothering the sound. That was a close one. The wolf eases his paw from my mouth. I return a small nod, thanking him silently for his intervention. As the seconds tick by, I hear the footsteps enter the room and continue further down. Casting a quick glance over the boxes, I spot Javier, his figure barely visible, edging his way towards the exit. As I track his progress, a sudden sneeze ambushes me again, this time leaving no room to stifle it. Achoooo! The room is suddenly filled with an explosion of sound. My eyes go wide as the echo of the sneeze rebounds off the cold walls. I hear the steel door immediately shut with a glimpse of Javier dashing out. Ro follows his lead, sprinting from our hiding spot. He tries to guide me to the exit, but disorientated from the sneeze, I stumble and lag behind, my nose throbbing with discomfort. Oh no, where did Ro go? Stumbling past shelves, I head in the direction of the door's sound. Hey, who's there? Shit, I look around, but there's no door. Where did I go wrong? I backtrack, taking a different corner around the boxes, around a different set of shelves. Fuck, where is it? Where is... I catch a glimpse of the glistening door handle in the dark and rush towards it. Theodore? My heart skips a beat, the sound of my name freezing me in my tracks. I turn, squinting against the backlight towards a tall, shadowy figure making their way through the maze of shelves. Who the fuck is that? Before I can discern the face in the shadows, a familiar paw clenches around my waist, yanking me out just as their identity nearly comes into view. To be continued. Rain check. So Theodore does a dummy again. No, but in reality, it wasn't his fault this time. Part of me wants to say that Javier might have done that on purpose with the spray. But at the same time, I don't think he anticipated the fact that Theodore was going to be, I guess, allergic to it, or at the very least, find that very unpleasant. It's kind of me with certain perfumes. My mom has a whole bunch of perfumes that she likes to wear, but I swear to God, either she puts too much on, or it's just the type of perfume that it gives me headaches and it causes me to sneeze uncontrollably. I can like never be around her if she's wearing them. But yeah. Anywho, what else? So you guys didn't get to see the scene between Javier and Ro, but yeah, that came out of nowhere. Like literally, when I was reading it the first time, I was like, oh, why? Why are you two doing this? Weren't you supposed to be checking his thigh? But I digress. I guess some people really like that type of content. So I suppose the story is picking up a little bit more. Still don't really know what's going on. And I kind of don't like it when characters do that to the main character, where it's like, oh, we kind of know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. We're going to keep that information to ourselves. You might not find out ever. Even when you know it's the climax of the story, you're still going to just sort of be there, kind of have a vague idea of what's going on, but not really, be led on. That's kind of my nitpick with a lot of visual novels. Sometimes when it's like a mystery visual novel or something like that, where the main character, never is really clued into what's going on. Like, come on, you two already know something, at least hint, or at least tell us a little bit more. Because, I mean, I know telling other people is a liability, especially if you don't really trust them right now, but still, I mean, like, he's tagging along. What's gonna happen? He almost got, killed. And I know it is suspicious that he's receiving a weird text out of nowhere. But still, come on. I need a little bit more information in order to become still more invested. Like, right now, I'm still reading it because it's like, you guys like the first and second build. I guess I need to keep reading it for you guys. Although, I suspect that a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's RadCanine who's doing it. But yeah. Anywho, so, write down in the comments what you think, and thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play Rain Check yourself, you can do so by going down into the link in the description, which should have a direct link for the Rain Check page on itch.io, where you can download it and play it, or you can just go to itch.io and download it yourself, and I forgot if they have a Patreon or if it's a coffee, but if they have either one of those, I will link that down in the description so that you can go down there and support them. Yeah, it means a lot to the creators. Certain visual novels might not be my particular cup of tea, but they might be yours. You might like them, and you might feel inclined to support them. So if you feel inclined, then by all means, go down into the description and go to their Patreon or coffee, whatever it is that they have, and subscribe or donate. Like you guys did to my coffee. By the time you see this, I'm pretty sure you're gonna be watching the videos for what's it called? For Soul Creek, because I'm planning to release updates or updating visual novels during the weekends, or maybe during the in between the weeks, like on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I don't know when I'm gonna do it. So yeah, this one will probably be in the first weekend when Soul Creek is starting. So yeah. Anywho, so yeah, I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.